Hi, and welcome back to my video. Okay, so today I'm going to talk a little bit about DOS and DDoS, as I have this request from some of my friends who they do know what is DOS and DDoS, but they don't really understand or have really seen it in real life. How does it look like from the attacker's point of view? So I'm going to show it to you. Um, Now, before we do that, going back to previously, like this is my setup. So I do have two WAFs, which are protecting my web servers. Okay, my WAF also has a little bit of DDoS, anti-DDoS kind of things like rate limiting, connection limiting, and stuff like that. Okay, let me just show it to you. Okay, so this is a code for the WAF. Over here we have the SQL pattern matching. Okay, for SQL injections, and just below it we have rate limiting and connection limiting and stuff like that. Okay, as well as IP blacklists and other kind of thresholds that we can set to prevent DOS or DDoS attacks. Okay, so that's basically how the WAF code looks like. Um, yeah, and I'm just going to go to the attacker's machine and show you that, especially for nowadays, right? In present day, a lot of network equipment, whether it's routers or switches, even firewalls and things like that, they all have very good protection against, because of stateful packet inspection and stuff like that. They do have very strong protection against things like half-open connections. So all the sync, ACK, fin floods and all that don't really work anymore. Um, full connections, full three handshake connections still do work. However, you do need to generate a lot of load before it's possible for you to take down a web server. Okay, and we can just see from here. So I have this thing called MHDDoS, which is a DDoS kind of a simulation tool. Let me just show it to you how it looks like. Okay, there's a lot of options and there's a lot of protocols you can simulate. Okay, so you can simulate like a layer 4 or layer 7 kind of attack, and I'm going to just simulate a layer 4 attack first. This is a TCP attack against the target IP or and the port of target IP of 252 and port 80. So when I launch the attack, okay, we're just going to let this run for a while. Yeah, and I'm just going to discuss a little bit about while it's running. I'm going to just discuss a little bit about the setup. So, okay, so basically for like anti-DDoS, right? If you have like an anti-DDoS service provider, right, up on the cloud, you can get a cloud anti-DDoS service. Um, and if you have this service, basically what happens is that you can change. They actually change the IP. Sorry, they change the host record to get the A record to have multiple IPs or more than one IP. So all these records, instead of pointing over to your firewall or your public IP directly, it will be pointed over to the cloud anti-DDoS provider, and they would anybody that's accessing, for example, let's say your domain is www.domain.com, right? So www is mapped to multiple IPs for redundancy, and when they try to access your website, instead of going directly to your public IP, it goes to the cloud anti-DDoS provider who cleans that traffic for you before passing it on over through the internet to your firewall. Okay, and obviously your firewall will filter out the other things like things like buffer overflow attacks against your web servers. This is handled by the IPS and IDS, and yeah, and then it forwards it to your load balancer, which forwards to your WAF, load balancers to your WAFs, and your web servers. Your WAF filters out all these SQL injections. Okay, so this is basically how the cloud version works. This is the data path. Okay, it's called the data path. The other one would be the on-prem DDoS. On-prem anti-DDoS, basically we deploy it just before the firewall. Reason for that is because if you deploy it after the firewall, if you get a heavy enough load, it can kill your firewall. Okay, it can bring down your firewall. Yeah, a firewall can be so swamped by all these requests, it's not able to process that amount of traffic and it can just crash. Okay, so we put it before the firewall. So by the time the traffic gets to the firewall, it's already a trickle. So the firewall still continues to take care of things like the VPN, the IPS, IDS, as well as like AV, content filtering, and things like that, and so on and so forth. And then it passes on to load balancer passes on to the WAF filters out the SQL, manages SQL injections, and then it passes on the request to the web servers. So your web servers are, by the time the traffic gets to web servers, they are all clean already. Okay, so that's basically the data path, how it works, how it looks like. Okay, so let me just go to my page, my website. There's 252, and the TCP has been running for some time. The TCP flood has been running for some time, right? But it has literally no bearing no effect on my website. No, you see, it doesn't work because let me just show you my WAF. Okay, yeah, because my WAF actually has some DDoS kind of protection built into it, so it does do some rate limiting as well as some limit the number of connections that can be made to it, things like that. So it doesn't have much impact against. There's not much impact against my website. Okay, I'll just stop the flood, and I'm going to try launching a layer 7 flood. This is layer 7 flood. Now layer 7 floods are quite devastating. Reason for that, okay, let me launch it first before I explain. Okay, so this is a post. This is a layer 7 post flood against the target. Okay, so layer 7 floods are particularly very devastating simply because without having to get too technical about it, right? On a very simple basic level, what layer 7 floods do is that they use things like a post or get request against your web server. Okay, and this request that goes to web server, these are not like invalid kind of HTTP requests. These are fully valid requests. Okay, your web server actually replies to it validly and things like that. So it really is a real get or post request to your web server. And what's so devastating about it is that even though you can't see it, right, but on the back end, okay, in the background, what's really running is that it changes something called the user agent. So when when you have for example, let's say if you're using like Firefox, right? When Firefox accesses the website, the web server actually recognizes the browser as coming from a Mozilla Firefox kind of a client. So no, these are called user agents. So layer 7 attacks, what they do is that they create a whole bunch of random user agents, okay, to make it seem like these requests are coming from Firefox, Mozilla, Chrome, Safari, and so on and so forth. And the web server doesn't know that these are not real requests, and these are actually and that this is actually attack, this is a flood. The web server doesn't know, so it gets very confused. You see, yeah. So thankfully for layer 7, we talk about commercial kind of anti-DDoS solutions or appliances. They do filter this very well, thankfully. Yeah, so yeah, so after we've been running for some time, let's try to access the site again. Okay, let's try to log in as a user. And it's really slow right now. So if our users are like trying to access, they get really frustrated because it's like, oh, I can't log in. What's happening? And yep, it works, but no, it kind of slows down and I can't even log out. So I will have to kind of like manually, go back to the main page. And now I get a timeout error. Okay, if I go back to my WAF, yeah, my WAF actually picks it up already and it shows that there's a flood. You can see a flood is coming in. It's really, really fast. So this is a layer 7 attack. So layer 7 attack actually gets through. It actually exhausts my web server from responding. So because of that, the page becomes like that. I'm not able to load the page or log in properly. Some people might still get in, but after a while they log in, they can't do anything else. Because it is basically exhausting the server. Okay, so this is a layer 7 kind of DOS. Please do not do this to anyone in real life. Okay, it's illegal, by the way. I'm just doing this on my lab, so that's fine. Yeah, I hope you learned something from this, and thank you for watching.